Hello, this is book number 1 for August 2020. Negro President Jefferson and the Slave Power. Oops, I'm covering up the name of the author, Gary Wills. Really good historian. I think he also wrote What Did Jesus Say and stuff like that. We're dealing with the history of the black vote because there's a lot of discussion about it in the United States. I have to say that. It was at this point that Benjamin Harrison of Virginia made the first proposal for a partial representation of slaves, counting each as one half of an inhabitant, since they did not work at the same rate as freemen in the North. James Wilson of Pennsylvania objected that this made a positive advantage of owning slaves, not only cutting the amount of taxes their owner would pay, but reducing the number of men they would have to supply for the common defense. It is our duty to lay every discouragement on the importation of slaves, but this amendment would give the jus trium liberarum tax break for large families to him who would import slaves. Witherspoon of New Jersey said that quotas should be set by lands and houses, and the South threw its weight behind this proposal. After debates running into October 1777, during which all the New England states opposed the Witherspoon concept, a 5-4 vote altered the draft to say that funds shall be supplied by the several states in proportion to the value of all land within each state, granted to or surveyed by any person, as such land and the buildings and improvement thereon shall be estimated according to such mode as the United States and Congress assembled shall from time to time direct and appoint. This is what ratified in the Articles. Hard experience of trying to finance the war proved this article unworkable. States were accused of suspected and under-reporting their land values to reduce taxation. Even honest estimates were hard to come by in wartime, when land values fluctuated because of occupation or devastation, and some states' claims on territory were disputed or surveyed. Besides, the Congress had not been able to establish norms for determining the value of different kinds of lands, arable, pastured, wooded, watered, or whatever, or of improvements, mills, houses, workshops, etc., as Madison recorded in his notes. In 1783, therefore, Congress tried to go back to the original idea of tax keyed to population. This raised the same old problem, of course, how to count, if at all, the slaves. The first proposal was that advanced earlier by Harrison that slaves be counted as one half or other inhabitants. Attempts at numerical calculations of slave productivity were then indulged. Northerners, Oliver Wolcott from Connecticut, Stephen Higginson, and Samuel Holton and Samuel Osgood from Massachusetts, claimed that slaves did 3/4 the work of freemen. Southerners counted that it was more like 1/4. Dario Carroll from Maryland, or 1/3. John Rutledge from South Carolina, producing a deadlock. A vote was taken on counting slaves at a 2/3 rate. Now, how can slaves do less work than freemen? It's insane. Probably at the suggestion of Madison, according to the editors of his paper, but it lost. Madison then, to give a proof of the sincerity of his professions of liberality, proposed the 3/5 rate for taxation. This was a compromise between the 1/2 count favored by the South and the 3/4 favored by the North. It would count a slave's productivity at 60% of a free person's, as opposed to the 50% favored by the South or the 75% desired by the North. Madison split up the difference with a tilt in the South's favor. The compromise prevailed by a vote of 5-3, with the Southern states voting for it. A later vote reached 11-2 in favor of the motion. But since this was an amendment to the Articles, it required unanimous agreement in order to be passed. So here you see they're taking people who do 100% of the labor all day, all night, and because of some taxation, they're devaluing it so that they don't even have to pay taxes on their slaves or to the society. So they're getting 100% of the work, but only paying for 60%. And wealthy people have never liked to pay taxes and in this society, and they've always balanced their lack of taxes on the backs of black bodies in this country, primarily. Although other people might have been included, it's mostly black bodies. This is what everybody needs to understand. And if you don't grasp that, the reality, then that's why you have this space. That's why you have these classes. That's why you have these lessons that I'm giving. So you can understand it, and then you can go out in the world and function properly. Until next time, please, I thank you for your support. I ask that you take care of your mind, take care of your body, and be safe.